In today's video, thanks to the Home Depot Seeds program, we're looking at the Husky 22-piece Ratchet accessory set, which is different than a socket set, which comes with a bunch of different size sockets, like those, and then sometimes other little doodads. The accessory set is strictly 3 ratchets. You get a 1/4-inch ratchet, which is 5 3/4 inches long. You get a 3/8 inch drive ratchet, which is 9 inches long, and a 1/2 inch drive, which is 12 inches in length. You get 10 extensions. Most of these are Wobble extensions. One is a flex extension, so it could enable you to go around a corner. You also get 6 adapters, and you get 3 U-joints. The first thing you'll notice when you get this kit is there's no blister pack. It comes in a foam cutout that's 1 1/4 inches thick, 19 inches wide, and 11 inches deep. And this is great because you can just literally pick this up and put it into one of your empty drawers. So why get this set if I already have 2 socket sets available? Well, this has 144 tooth in the ratchet head. So it's a finer turn, which means that when you go to tighten or loosen something, you'll make less of an arc before it catches and you're able to apply torque. Another reason I wanted this set was because of the extensions. The socket sets that I do have very short, limited extensions, and sometimes you just need something that's really long or that is adaptable for one of your drivers. Even before removing any of the tools, you'll notice that there are smudges and fingerprints, and there's even grease on that ratchet head. And I have not touched any of these tools yet. They're still in the case as I received them. So I'm a little disappointed that there was no cleaning up of these tools, even though they're chrome plated. The QC seemed to be poor. This product is made in Taiwan and China, and for whatever reason, in the QC stage, they don't bother polishing the tool just to give it that nice aesthetic look that one would expect. The tools do come with a lifetime warranty that does not require a receipt, so you should be able, should one of these fail, just walk into the Home Depot, give it to them, and they should give you another one. Anyway, another thing I noticed is that there's cutouts to get into the tool, but it can be a little bit of a challenge. This getting out the 1/2 inch, I'm actually going to end up, here, let me show you. I'm going to end up cutting a notch here so I can get my hand around it to pull it up, because it's so deeply set that it's not easy to get it up. Whereas like this one is easy because you have an opening on both sides. So I think they missed an opportunity there to make that just a little easier for the consumer. Now let's see if we can polish up this tool, get that oil off. And with a little clean towel, it turns into a rather nice looking tool. Lots of oil on it. Smooth switching. To release the socket, you just push the center. If you wanted to take it apart, you could pull this clip out by compressing this ring. I don't know why, because it's under warranty, so if it failed, I would just take it back to them. I'm used to handles that are textured. They give you a a better grip, but I know, like the other set that I have is just like this. It's polished with just a small gripping area, but it feels pretty good in the hand. I'm going to toss a socket on this and see how the ratcheting feels like. It claims to be a low profile head, but compared to one of my other ratchets, it's about the same. I actually prefer the button sticking up because it's easier just to find, as opposed to trying to locate the center and then pushing in. Although you'll notice that it's hard to get the socket on unless you push that in, which is great. So the ball bearing catches and then doesn't want to let go until you push down to release, which I believe on this set, I push, it grabs. It does a pretty good job of holding on to that too. So it's equal to this set, but you'll notice a difference in the sound. You hear that? 144 teeth. This is less. I don't know what the number is on this particular ratchet. But, so, you'd have to do that much turn to catch the next tooth, whereas on this one, it's so minute. So if you're working in a very tight space and you just have a few degrees to work in, you could still work with this ratchet. For those of you who don't know what a wobble extension is, instead of the end of the extension being squared, it actually is tapered towards the shaft, thus making it a little weaker, but you can do this with the tool. You can either operate the fastener as a regular socket like you would with one that's straight, or if you pull on it, now it swivels, thus enabling you to get around some obstacles and to flex a little bit without needing a U-joint. And then when you need to do it as a straight, you just push it down. And it operates the same way as a regular extension. The difference is that you get a bit more metal with this. So if you're torquing this a lot, there's a slight increase that this might shear off just because there is just less metal here to work with. But the benefit is that you sort of have a two-in-one tool here, one that allows you to wobble your socket or use it straight, versus this one, which only allows you to use it one way. In a description, it says that the tools are marked. I need another tool to get this drive out. That there are markings size-wise. Definitely not on the ratchet itself. All you get is just right here, it says Husky. If we go to some of the extensions, let's see. This one says it's a 4-inch extension right there. So that's nice. And if you place it down the correct way, then you'd actually would see that. So all the extensions do have it carved in. It tells you here, this one's a 10-inch. So the universal joints also just have the name Husky and no measurements. If we look at the adapters, they too say Husky. This one says TW. Let me pull up another one. This one says Husky, and that's it. So No real markings other than branding on the tools, with the exception of the extensions. The adapters let you do fun things like, putting on different types of bit fasteners and just being able to extend the usefulness of your ratchet set by adapting to some other tools. While I touched on it earlier, the handle shape can vary from brand to brand, and the Husky is similar to like the Stanley in that it's not a flat textured kind of handle, and that's fine. But sometimes it's those little things that can make a big difference when you're working with a tool. And here I'm noticing two things. One, this switch is really low profiled and actually a little harder to operate than something that's a little bit beefier or even more pronounced that you can quickly catch and turn. I also noticed that the metal is scratched on the right hand side, so the tolerance for this is not quite right because it's actually scraping the metal, and it came that way. It's not something that I did, I just noticed it. On this tool it doesn't make any difference because there's no polish there. On this one there's no markings, but again, the big thing for me is just the actual physical height, and not so pronounced here. And here with the 1/2-inch ratchet, again, it's a pretty smooth switch. They're easy to find. But when you drop down to the the 1/4-inch ratchet, this is almost so flush that it's just a thin piece of metal. And on this brand, it's thicker because they carved into the handle so that you have more of a switch to turn. And on this, which I consider a cheaper ratchet set, it's a big, beefy little knob there. So I ding them a little bit for that because you don't want to be sliding across that. You want to get just your thumb on it and be able to switch and ratchet. And this shouldn't be wasting any of your time. You should be able to just make it positive. That's also the other reason why I kind of ding that you have to push down below the surface to attach a socket or release a socket, whereas other manufacturers just have a button that you push. By the way, I fixed the issue with not being able to get to the 1/2-inch and 3/8 ratchet by just carving out a little space so I can get my hand around the handle to lift it out. It might do them well to actually adapt that in production. Well, price-wise, this is not a beginner set, and actually you wouldn't start out with this. You'd buy a socket set that has a variety of sockets to work with, and then this would be the next step up because you need lots of extensions. And at this price point, you're getting 3 additional ratchets, a variety of extensions and adapters and U-joints, which individually would cost more than this kit. Things that have me a little concerned, I can live with the fact that I have to just cut holes in this to make this right, even though they should have taken care of that. Not impressed with the fact that they don't polish their tools before they send them out. 2, I have a little bit of an issue with the reversing switch, especially on the quarter drive, where it feels like it'd just be too easy to miss because it's so thin and should really just protrude out a little bit further so it's easier to catch. I also don't like the fact that on the 1/2-inch drive and the 3/8 drive, the forward reverse switch is actually scraping on the right hand side. It's consistent on both these tools. Have not noticed it on this one. And that's the way they came from the manufacturer. These are Wobble extensions, except for the spring extension, which is one of those things that when you need it, you really need it, but 99% of the time you'll never need it, but it's just nice to have, and I appreciate that they included that. I like the fact that they included some nice adapters. You also have universals, and those can always come in handy. Of course, you don't want to put a lot of torque on these with a breaker bar because you'll probably snap them. And you certainly don't want to use an impact tool. Overall, I like the set, and it certainly will be a welcome addition to my other tools. I just feel they could step up the QC just a little bit more and make this a really outstanding set. Nice things about this set: 144 teeth, which means it's very fine on turning and catching, so you'll be able to work really tight areas and still be able to ratchet. While there's no knurling on the ratchet handles and they're prone to scratching, which will become visible, they do feel comfortable. Wouldn't mind working with these. I like the fact that there is some knurling on the extensions, and each extension is engraved with its length. Oh, and of course, you can't forget that it comes with its own cutout foam padding, which makes it easy to store, transport, or just put in your favorite toolbox. If you found this interesting or useful, give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, join the subscription team, and as always, thank you ever so much for watching.